Do you need a college education to become a game developer? The answer to that question, coming up. Hey everybody, it's Travis Vroman. If you're new to this channel, I upload daily videos with tips, tricks, and industry advice for game developers. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Alright, so today I want to talk about whether or not a college education is necessary to become a game developer. With the influx of so many game development programs in colleges within the last decade or so, it really, it's a common question I get quite often as to whether or not you need one of these degrees to become a game developer, whether the studios that maybe you're applying for will look at you or not. So before I answer this question, let me give a little bit of background about myself. I went to college for game art and design. I was in college for 4.5 years and I completed and graduated. And with that, of course, I accumulated a lot of student loan debt, which by the way, I'm still paying. In 2009, I graduated from college and was super pumped to get into the industry and start working. I got some small jobs right away. I got some contract positions here and there, but I wasn't really able to get into any of the large studios because one of the things I was lacking was experience. So even though I'd been in college for 4.5 years, I didn't have the experience that a lot of these studios were looking for. And because of that, I didn't get hired at a game company right away. And so what I wound up doing was taking a slightly different route. And that route was going to work at a web development company. This to me was sort of a close second. It was always sort of my fallback plan was that if I couldn't make the game development thing work, I would do web development until I could make the game development thing work. And so that's what I did. The problem with that was I then became complacent at the web development job until there were a whole bunch of things that got thrown in that really made me want to move on. And it's not really important what those things were, but fact of the matter was I wasn't happy doing web development. It's not really what I wanted to do, and I really needed to move on from that. At one point I got so frustrated I actually considered leaving software development in general behind and completely switching gears to a completely different industry. Ultimately, I did land a job as a game developer, and that's with the studio that I'm at now. But I don't think my college degree actually helped me get there. And the reason for that is, first off, the further away that you get from that college degree, the less that college degree actually matters. So when you first were to graduate, that'd be like towards the top of your resume, like, hey, I graduated from here, here's my GPA, etc. But once you start accumulating experience, that sort of works its way down the totem pole. And as it turns out, the company that I was at, I wasn't using my degree at all at the web development company. I worked there for 6.5 years and I never wound up using the degree for game art and design that entire time. Instead, I wound up becoming a software engineer instead and gained experience in that area. And that ultimately, I think, is what helped me get where I am today in terms of getting my foot in the door at the game company that I'm at now. It was getting that experience, even though it was outside the game industry, getting that software development experience that got me in the door to where I am now. It was my constant push outside the context of work, constantly improve my skills, both as an artist as well as a programmer, and being public about those things, and having tangible examples that I could bring to the interview with me to show off what I was capable of doing. It's those things that ultimately wound up getting me the job, not the degree. Do I regret going to college and getting the degree? I'm on the fence about that. I certainly regret it every single time I look at the student loans. That I could have done it probably much cheaper somewhere else. But fact of the matter is, I didn't, so I'm still paying those. I'm hoping within the next year or two, those things will be paid off completely and I won't have to worry about it anymore. But fact of the matter is, I've been out of school now for almost 10 years and I've been paying on those student loans since before I got out of school. So I will be happy when those things disappear. But regardless, the other reason that I'm saying that the degree didn't help me get there is because I got that job without ever having shown them my degree. The degree actually came out later, after the fact. And so it didn't help me at that company to have a degree. It hasn't helped me at my current company to have that degree. Yes, I gained a lot of experience in terms of learning things about the artistic side of it. I learned some things about the business side of it. The thing that I gained, the biggest thing that I gained from the college experience is, of course, all the people that I met along the way who still continue to this day to inspire me, because I keep contact with them on Facebook and things like that. And any of them that maintain a blog or an Instagram where they're constantly posting the work, I always check those things out. That's a huge source of inspiration for me. And to see where some of those guys have gone has truly been incredible. But at the end of the day, that I feel like was the biggest thing I got out of college. I feel also like a lot of the courses there I probably could have taught myself, namely the programming ones. The programming ones were super basic. And again, it was an art college, so I guess it's kind of expected that they wouldn't be, too in-depth, but at the same time, I didn't really gain anything in those areas. I already knew how to program that at that point, at least beyond the levels that they were teaching in the program. All in all, I really don't think that the degree was worth the amount of money that I paid, and I wouldn't suggest to someone thinking about going for a degree to get the same degree that I did. I think rather than going for a game art degree, it's much better to look at, there's endless tutorials and there are endless resources online that are available to learn all these things. I didn't learn how to program from a class. I taught myself how to program. I looked up things online. I learned how to program. I learned how to make models basically on my own. I had an introduction to it in school, but I honed my skills in that area and texture making on my own. It wasn't really something that I gained from the program. To me, it really wasn't worth the money. I don't regret it from the standpoint that I met a lot of awesome people who I still talk to today, and I wouldn't trade that for anything, but I would not recommend it to somebody who was just starting out and thinking about going into game development. I don't feel that starting off with so much debt is a great thing to do. I think education is important, and I think upskilling is important, and learning how to do these things from professionals is important, but I don't think school is the only way to do that. There are so many sort of boot camps and things available online that are much, much, much cheaper than going to a full-fledged college program. You could combine those things, and given the correct drive to actually push forward in those things, I don't see a reason that you can't do it without a college degree. I know several game developers out there who I've met who don't have a degree, or maybe they started going to college and they just dropped out because they didn't see the value in it. And I'm happy that I completed the program. I'm happy that I have my degree, it's up on the wall, but it's not something that I necessarily would suggest to somebody new. So I think that's really all I've got on this. If you guys have any additional questions on it, please leave me some feedback in the comments below. Feel free to ask me about it. If you want me to go into more detail, I can make another video about it and discuss a little bit more of the details, maybe some of the finances, or maybe some of the things I did learn or gain, and some of the issues that I ran into while I was going to college. I'd be happy to do that, but I think for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.